Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lift and Sketch with Christy and Rachel. Today we are lifting Kelly Barron's lovely layout that she actually just did as part of her series with Mari Clark, and so I was super excited to see this. Now, I took a lot of photos for New Year's Eve, so I decided to make a double page layout. So I'm taking the idea of using my silhouette to cut out the 2016 and backing it with pattern paper, and then I also am doing a stripe of photos. So in Kelly's, she had them on an angle and above and below, whereas I'm doing them straight across, but I'm still getting that same same type of effect with having a strip of photos. Now, I am using the Simple Stories New Year's collection. It was one of their mini collections, so it just comes with 2 pattern papers, 2 sheets of cut-aparts, and a 6x12 sticker sheet. And I'm going to be using the majority of everything. So what I'm choosing now is choosing some papers to go behind my 2016 numbers. Now, I have some bits of the cut-aparts left over, so I'm just looking for some stuff that will work, and I decide to use some of the cut-aparts because I'm not going to use all of those, so I pull some of the patterns for it, like that plaid for the 1, and now I've decided that these balloons will work well in the 0. Now, even though I am going to put back in the center portion of the 0, I definitely think you see enough of the balloons to make it worth. Oh, and look, Xanthi has once again eaten my ATG. Grr, I'm annoyed, but what am I going to do? I'm going to go ahead and fix it back up and just keep on moving on. Alright, so this is one of those times where I don't do a literal interpretation of the scrap lift. Usually I'm one for just following it completely, but this time I really wanted to work with this line. I had all these, super cute photos that I took on New Year's Eve, including this selfie of myself and my nephew. And another thing that really worked that I lifted from Kelly was the doing a little blurb about each of the photos. That's what she did in her layout, so I thought that would be super fun to do in this layout as well. So I just put down the 2 photos I'm going to put on the left-hand side of my paper, and I'm going to apologize because my camera got knocked a little bit askew, so you do miss the bottom quarter of my layout for the majority of this video, but there's not a lot going on down there, so it should be okay. And okay, so I wanted to ink it up because there's a white edge around it and it just bothered me for some reason. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to go and finish off backing my cut file with the different pieces of pattern paper. So I'm looking for something to go in the 2 right now, and I find this grid and hot pink with the little heart in it. You can see enough of the little heart that you can read kind of what it is, so, or at least in my mind you can. So I'm going to go ahead and use that behind the 2. Now I'm going to start using some washi tape, and then I'm going to try to fill it in using my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive in my fine line bottle, only my fine line bottle goes and dies. You can see it coming out the edge there. I love the fine line bottle and how, you can get a nice thin line, but it does end up getting gross after a while. I wish they could find a way to work it so that it lasted for longer than 8 months, because that's about as long as it lasts for me. So I just don't know if I can really do another one. I've already spent probably $10 or so on them in the past 2 years, and here's where my video got shifted, so I apologize for that. So for right now, I'm just going to continue taping the pattern paper behind the numbers, just using washi tape, and it'll be fine for right now. I'll actually probably go over it again with some more glue. But I'm just kind of using what spilled out of my fine line bottle to glue everything, glue the center piece of the 0 and the center piece of the 6 in, and a little bit squished out, but I'm okay with that. It dries pretty clear, so it's hard to notice without. So I'm going to go ahead and get my left side photos. Oh, and while I went to wash my hands after I got glue all over them, Xanthi once again ate my ATG tape. I have to hide it from her, otherwise she eats it, and I just had stepped away without turning it over, and she went to town. So I'm going to go ahead and get this down, and then I'm going to use my trimmer and trim off the part that hangs off the page, obviously. And what I'm going to do is I want to have the exact same size on the other side. So I took that piece that I cut off, and it had a little bit of ATG left on the edge of it. So I went ahead and taped that to the other 12 by 12 I have of this piece of paper. And so that way I get the exact same length that the first piece of paper is. So what I'm going to do is line my papers up and make sure, first of all, that it's actually the same length. And I'm going to go ahead and use my ATG and go ahead and get that down. And I'm not worried about the patterns matching up, because I use a D-ring binder, so it's not like they're going to sit exactly next to each other anyways. And also because the pattern is so sporadic, it's just not something that is going to bother me. So now I've got these five photos left, and I really want them to go straight across, but I'm just not going to have enough room. So I'm trying to see what will work. You know, if I put these two next to each other, if I try to do this and cut off the top, or I cut off the bottom, or will this work? And what am I going to do? So what I end up thinking is, I can just trim some of these down vertically, because not everything needs to be in the photo. They're kind of just group shots, and then I can trim off my friend's son's photo, because it's just him in the center where you don't really need to see my friend's basement. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of my photos glued down. Now, a lot of these are not super awesome photos. They're just fun for me. These are all taken on either my camera phone or my nephew's camera phone. You'll see a couple of Snapchat photos there. And, by midnight, first of all, I'm crazy tired. I'm not a big drinker, so I was not drunk or anything. But so I'm not, composing my photos to the best. But they're, super enjoyable, fun ideas behind the photos for me. So I pull these scripty teal glitter fake thickers that were put out by Scraptastic. I have some left over, and I'm going to spell out NYE. So my full title is NYE 2016. And see, this is where you're missing a bunch of the stuff. I do end up pushing it up more, so you will see more in a little bit, but for right now, this is what you're seeing. So I really do apologize for that. And I'm just trying to use my fine line bottle to kind of mush down, forgetting that it had stopped working. Okay, it is time to embellish. I'm keeping my embellishments on the really light side because I'm using such a bright line by Simple Stories. I really wanted to keep the embellishments on the simple side. I grabbed this doily. This is from my friend Vicky. We went to the crop together, and she gave everyone a little bag of goodies she made. So I pull out this 3x4 journaling card to go in front of that doily, and then I'm going to use these wood veneer open stars, which there are also stickers of in the Simple Stories Happy New Year line, along with this banner sticker in that upper right hand corner. Now these stars are great, but you do have to pull out all of the insides of them, so they are a little time consuming. It took me a little bit to get actually through them all. I think I actually sped up the video at some point because they were just taking forever to get. I also pulled that New Year's Eve sticker to put in the upper left hand corner, and I think the stars are the only thing I end up using besides that. No, I am wrong. I did add some phrase stickers from that 6x12 sheet as well. So I want to thank everyone for joining us here. Please check out Christy's take on Kelly's layout, and I'm going to have to speed through this next part of the layout because Movie Maker is giving me fits. I am using some stars from Freckled Fawn along with these wood veneer stars, and then I'm going to take out some Snap Simple Stories numbers that came as part of a pack, the little mini tile ones, and I'm going to number each of my photos and go through a little blurb about each of the photos, just like Kelly did in her layout. That first one is a selfie of my nephew and myself. Then I've got a picture of one of my friends and the dog Sadie. We've got one of my friends the party was at, one of her bearded dragons, and then some board game playing that always happens because a bunch of us are nerds. Little hello to Snapchat, and then the kiddos are playing Truth or Dare, a very, very tame version of Truth or Dare, don't worry, in the basement. And then finally a whole thing about kisses and champagne at midnight. So those are my 7 photos. I'm now going to be writing the journaling, and like I said, I did have to speed this up. Movie Maker did not want to let me edit my video, so we just had to go with this because otherwise it took forever to get through. Okay. Thanks once again for joining us here. Once I finish the journaling, I'm pretty much all set. I'm going to show you some very, very, very fast close-ups, but there are photos at the end. So here you go. We're all done. Thanks again for joining us. Make sure you check out Christy's video. Any thumbs up would be super appreciated. Have a great day, everyone. Bye!